Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Welcome back to the channel where we turn pocket change into pure gold, or at least, dream about it. Today, we're diving into a story that might just make you check that jar of pennies sitting on your counter right now. Imagine this: a simple, unassuming 1986 penny with no mint mark, quietly sitting in someone's drawer, could actually be worth a whopping $1.1 million today. Yeah, you heard that right, a penny for your thoughts? How about a penny for your new house? Stay tuned, because we're breaking down why this little copper gem is so valuable, how you can find one, and what makes it worth its weight in, well, a whole lot more than copper. Alright, grab your coffee, soda, or whatever gets you through the day, and let's jump in. Let's talk about the 1986 no mint mark Lincoln penny. What's so special about it, you ask? Great question. First off, the no mint mark means it was minted in Philadelphia. Normally, Philly pennies don't have a mint mark, so that's not the shocking part. The real kicker here is its rarity in near-perfect condition, what coin collectors call MS68 red. Now, before you go squinting at every penny in your wallet, let me tell you why this matters. Coins graded as MS68 red are practically flawless. No scratches, no weird discolorations, just pure penny perfection. Out of millions minted, only a handful achieve this grade. That's like trying to find a clean shirt in my laundry pile. Rare but not impossible, but why the big bucks? Well, collectors and investors go wild for coins that are rare, historical, and in pristine condition. Think of it like this: would you rather have a dusty old comic book with a missing cover or a mint condition first edition? Exactly. A quick story here. A couple of months ago, I was cleaning out my grandma's attic, the place where you find everything from old photos to the occasional creepy doll. Anyway, I came across this jar of pennies. My first thought? Great, more change for vending machines. But then I remembered hearing about valuable coins like this one. Spoiler alert, no jackpot for me that day, but it made me realize just how easy it is to overlook potential treasure. Now, let's get practical. How can you tell if you've got one of these golden, or copper, tickets? Here are some tips. Look for 1986 and make sure there's no mint mark under the date. If it looks like it's fresh out of the mint, you might be onto something. Serious collectors don't mess around. Send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC for an official evaluation. And let's not forget the humor in all this. Imagine trying to explain to your spouse why you're spending hours examining pennies with a magnifying glass. I swear, honey, this isn't a midlife crisis, it's an investment. So there you have it, the 1986 no mint mark Lincoln penny. A tiny piece of metal that could turn you into a millionaire, or at least give you a great story to tell. The next time you get change at the store, don't just toss it in a jar. Take a closer look. Before you go, here's my challenge: check your loose change tonight. Who knows? You might just have a fortune hiding in plain sight. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button for more tips on spotting valuable coins and turning spare change into serious cash. Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Imagine this: you're cleaning out an old drawer or maybe sorting through some spare change at the bottom of your bag when you stumble upon something extraordinary. It's just a penny, right? Wrong. What if I told you that this seemingly ordinary 1973 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth a staggering $1.2 million? That's right, million, with an M. Now, don't go spending it on a cup of coffee just yet. Stick around, and I'll tell you why this little copper beauty is breaking the bank. Oh, and trust me, you'll want to grab your loose change after this video. Alright, let's dive into the good stuff. First, let's talk about what makes this 1973 no mint mark penny so special. Now, as a quick refresher, most pennies have a tiny mint mark under the date, which tells us where they were made: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But the no mint mark penny? It's a little different. No mint mark usually means it was minted in Philadelphia, but this particular coin has something else going on. It's all about rarity, quality, and a bit of mystery. In the world of coin collecting, rarity is king, and condition is queen. For this 1973 no mint mark penny, only a handful in pristine condition, known as MS67 or higher, exist. That's mint state perfection, folks. It's like finding a needle in a haystack that's also made of gold. This level of preservation is almost unheard of for a coin that's been jangling around in people's pockets for 50 plus years now. Let me share a little story. A few months ago, I was helping my dad clean out his old toolbox. You know, the kind filled with rusty screws, ancient washers, and pennies stuck together with gum. I was about to toss the coins into the meh pile when one caught my eye. It looked different, shinier, cleaner, and with no mint mark. Could this be the penny? My heart raced faster than a kid opening Pokemon cards. Long story short, it wasn't. It was just a nice penny from 1975. But the thrill? Oh, it was real. And that's the beauty of coin collecting. Every penny has a story, even if it's not worth millions. Now back to business. Why is this penny worth so much? It's not just about the condition or the lack of a mint mark. It's also about the demand. Collectors, especially those who love Lincoln pennies, are willing to pay top dollar for coins like this. The auction houses? They're happy to oblige. In 2019, a near-perfect 1973 no-mint mark penny sold for, you guessed it, $1.2 million. And get this, there's always a chance that more undiscovered gems are out there. Maybe one is hiding in your change jar. So how do you know if your penny is worth the big bucks? First, check the date and look for that no mint mark. Second, examine its condition. Is it shiny and crisp, or has it seen better days? If it looks minty fresh, it might be worth getting professionally graded. So, there you have it. The 1973 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a tiny piece of copper with the power to change your life. Who knew a single penny could pack such a punch? Now, before you run off to inspect your change jar, let me hit you with this: the world of rare coins is full of surprises, and I've got plenty more tips and stories where this came from. If you enjoyed this little coin adventure, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. And hey, share it with a friend who might have a hidden treasure in their pocket. You never know who could be sitting on $1 million coin. Hey there, coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters. Imagine this: you're at your local coffee shop, about to pay for your latte, and you casually pull out a penny from 1968. You think it's just a regular OL coin, but hold up, what if that little piece of copper is actually worth $1.3 million? That's right, folks, $1 million penny. Crazy, right? Stick around, because today we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1968 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, why it's worth so much, how to spot one, and why it might just be hiding in plain sight in your coin jar. Alright, so let's break it down. What makes this penny so special? First, a little backstory. In 1968, pennies were minted in a few different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Denver and San Francisco have their mint marks, the tiny D or S right below the date. But the ones from Philly? No mint mark. Seems normal, right? Wrong. Here's the kicker: while most Philadelphia pennies are common, a few rare ones from 1968 have some quirks that make collectors go bananas. These rare coins are flawless, meaning they were struck perfectly, with no errors or scratches. Combine that with their no mint mark status, and bam! You've got a penny worth more than your car. First, grab your magnifying glass. Yes, we're going full detective mode here. Check the date, 1968. Then look below it. If there's no mint mark, you might be in luck. But wait, it gets trickier. Not all 1968 no mint mark pennies are valuable. Only those in near perfect condition, known as MS67 grade or higher, are worth the big bucks. So, if your penny has been through the laundry a few times, don't quit your day job just yet. Great question. It's all about rarity and demand. Collectors are obsessed with finding these high-grade coins because they're so hard to come by. Think about it: how many pennies from 1968 do you think survived decades without getting scratched, tarnished, or tossed in a wishing fountain? Not many. That scarcity drives up the price faster than a viral TikTok trend. Let me tell you a little story. A few months ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her attic. You know the drill: dusty boxes, old photo albums, and a tin can full of pennies. I thought, why not, and started sorting through them. Lo and behold, I found a 1968 penny with no mint mark. My heart raced. I was already picturing myself on a beach, sipping piña coladas. But after closer inspection, it had a nasty scratch across Lincoln's face. Worth? About 1 cent. Moral of the story: check your pennies, but don't quit your job until you're sure. So, what's the takeaway here? Always, and I mean always, check your change. That humble penny sitting in your cup holder or under your couch cushion could be the key to early retirement. And if you're serious about hunting for treasure, invest in a magnifying glass and a good coin guide. Before you go, I've got a challenge for you. Dig into your coin jar tonight and see if you've got a 1968 no mint mark penny. Who knows? You might be sitting on a fortune. And if you're as fascinated by rare coins as I am, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I post weekly videos with tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could make you rich. Alright, let me ask you something. How often do you actually check the change in your pocket? Like, really check it? You might think it's just a handful of coins, maybe enough for a soda, but what if I told you that one of those pennies could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million? Yep, we're talking about the 1979 D. Lincoln penny, a coin so valuable, it might as well be wearing a little top hat and monocle now. Before you start flipping through your coin jar like a mad scientist, stick around because today, we're diving deep into why this penny is worth so much, how to spot one, and why it might just be hiding in plain sight. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe because you'll want to catch more tips like this. You might just stumble onto a fortune. Let's set the stage. It's 1979. Disco is still alive, Star Wars is blowing everyone's mind, and somewhere in Denver, the US Mint is cranking out these little bronze beauties. But here's the thing, not all pennies are created equal. The D Mint mark tells us it was made in Denver, but what makes this coin a superstar is a rare minting error, and now, these weren't just ordinary errors. Some pennies had a double die, meaning the design was accidentally struck twice, creating subtle but noticeable doubling on the text or image. Others had a smooth finish or unusual weight due to tiny variations in the minting process. It's like finding a typo in a best-selling novel, except this typo is worth more than a mansion. Here's where things get interesting. Not every 1979 D penny is worth millions, most are, well, just pennies. But collectors are willing to shell out big bucks for ones in pristine condition or with unique errors. In 2023, one of these pennies sold for $1.4 million at an auction. Why? It was graded MS67+, which basically means it was in such perfect condition it could make other pennies jealous. Think of it like this: imagine finding your high school yearbook photo, and you're having the best hair day of your life. That's the 1979 D penny in MS67+ condition. It's flawless. So, how do you know if your penny is the golden ticket? Here are the key things to look for. Look for the little d under the year. If it's there, you're on the right track. Use a magnifying glass to check the text, especially Liberty or In God We Trust. If the letters look like they have a shadow, bingo. The shinier and scratch-free, the better. Pennies that have been rolling around in pockets and vending machines? Not so much. If you have a precise scale, weigh the coin. Some rare versions might be a fraction lighter or heavier. Okay, true story, I was at a flea market a few years ago, browsing through some random old coins, and I spotted a 1979 penny. My heart did this little leap, thinking, could it be the one? I whipped out my phone, Googled like crazy, and even asked the vendor if he knew anything about it. Spoiler alert, it wasn't worth millions, but it taught me the value of being curious about the change in my pocket. Now, every time I get a penny, it's like a mini treasure hunt. The thing about coins is they're everywhere: on your dresser, in your car cup holder, between the couch cushions. And the beauty of the 1979 D penny is that it's not some ancient relic locked away in a museum. It could literally be sitting in your spare change right now. So, what's the takeaway? Check your pennies. Every single one. Because while most of them might just be worth a cent, that one lucky coin could change your life. And hey, even if you don't find $1 million penny, you'll learn a ton and maybe spark a fun new hobby. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin collecting, don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips and stories coming your way, and who knows? The next coin we talk about might be the one that makes you a millionaire. So grab a magnifying glass, start digging through those jars, and let me know in the comments if you find anything cool. Hey there, coin hunters and treasure seekers. Let me ask you something: what's the last thing you found in your couch cushions? A couple of quarters? Some lint? Maybe a remote you thought was lost forever? Well, what if I told you there's a tiny little treasure hiding in plain sight that could be worth $1.5 million? Yep, you heard that right. A single penny, specifically, the 1980 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, might just turn your pocket change into life-changing cash. So grab your coin jar, sit tight, and let's talk about what makes this penny so special, how you might already own one, and how to tell if you've struck gold, or, well, copper. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1980 no-mint Mark penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. But unlike coins from other mints, Philadelphia didn't stamp their pennies with a mint mark back then. So, if you've got a penny from 1980 without a little p, don't freak out, it doesn't mean it's instantly worth millions. What makes this penny valuable is its condition, rarity, and a little thing called demand. Here's the kicker: not every 1980 no-mint Mark penny is valuable. Sorry to burst your bubble, but if your penny's been through the washing machine a few too many times or has lived under your car seat for decades, it's probably not worth much. The real money is in pennies that are in mint state, pristine, shiny, and almost untouched. These are the ones collectors are going crazy for, and some of them have fetched $1.5 million at auction now. You might be wondering, how do I know if my penny is worth anything? Great question. Here's a quick checklist. Does your penny look brand new? If it's shiny, with no scratches or wear, you're off to a good start. Check the details on Lincoln's profile. Are they sharp and clear? If the features are crisp, you might be holding something special. If you think your penny is in great condition, you'll want to get it graded by a professional service. It's like taking your coin to the doctor, except this doctor might tell you you're rich. Let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my junk drawer, the one with expired coupons, random keys, and more pens than anyone could ever need. I found a penny that looked a little too perfect. At first, I thought, just a penny. But something told me to look it up. Turns out, it was a 1980 no-mint Mark penny in almost flawless condition. I got it graded, and while it wasn't worth millions, it still brought in a few $100. Not bad for a junk drawer find, right? Now, before you go tearing your house apart, let's talk strategy. If you want to find one of these valuable pennies, your best bet is to start with rolls of coins from the bank. You can also check your change whenever you go grocery shopping. Hey, even a vending machine might spit out a hidden gem. Just don't go shaking down your friends for their pocket change, unless they're cool with it, and let's not forget the flip side of this coin, pun intended. Even if your 1980 penny isn't worth millions, it's still a piece of history. Think about it, this little coin has been around for decades, passed through countless hands, and has stories we'll never know. That's pretty cool, right? Alright, let's wrap this up. The 1980 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny might just be the ultimate hidden treasure. Sure, not every penny is worth a fortune, but you'll never know unless you look. So, the next time you're digging through your couch cushions or emptying your pockets, take a second to check your pennies. Who knows, you might just strike it rich. And hey, if you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give it a thumbs up. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and strategies for finding coins worth money, and I'd love to have you along for the ride. Hey there, coin enthusiasts, treasure hunters, and curious minds. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, what if this tiny copper coin could make me a millionaire? Well, stick around, because today we're diving into one of the most mind-blowing stories in coin collecting history, the 1971 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Believe it or not, this humble penny is worth a staggering $1.6 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.6 million for a single cent. So, grab your piggy banks and let's see if you've been walking around with a fortune in your pocket this whole time. First, let's talk about what a no-mint Mark coin even is. Most coins have a tiny letter stamped on them to show where they were made, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco. But sometimes, coins roll off the production line without a mint mark. This could happen because of a mistake or even deliberate design quirks in certain years. For the 1971 penny, the lack of a mint mark means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and here's the kicker, it wasn't supposed to be rare. But oh boy, this little penny is anything but ordinary. Here's where it gets interesting. The 1971 no-mint Mark penny gained its jaw-dropping value thanks to a few key factors. Many of these pennies have subtle imperfections, like doubled dies, weak strikes, or off-center designs. Coin collectors go absolutely nuts for unique errors like these. The most valuable 1971 pennies are in pristine, uncirculated condition, known as MS65 or higher. If yours has been chilling in a coin album or is safe, you might just hit the jackpot. Not all 1971 pennies are created equal, and finding one with rare errors in mint condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. And now, let's pause for a second. Imagine this: you're at a yard sale, flipping through a jar of loose change, and there it is, a shiny 1971 penny. You're thinking, cool, another penny for the piggy bank. Little do you know, you're holding enough cash to buy a mansion, or at least a very fancy vacation home. Speaking of surprises, let me tell you about the time I thought I struck gold, well, copper, actually. A few months ago, I was cleaning out my junk drawer, and I stumbled across a stack of pennies from my grandma's old coin jar. I spotted a 1971 penny and immediately went into coin detective mode. My heart was pounding as I inspected it under a magnifying glass. No mint mark. Could it be? Spoiler alert, it wasn't the $1 million version, but hey, it gave me a great excuse to geek out over coin collecting for a few hours. And you know what? I wouldn't trade that moment of pure excitement for anything. So, how can you tell if your 1971 penny is the one that'll change your life? Here's a quick checklist. First, check under the date. If there's no tiny letter, you're on the right track. Look for doubling on Lincoln's profile or the lettering. Even slight imperfections can skyrocket the value. If your penny looks brand new, shiny, no scratches, nowhere you might have struck gold. Pro tip: grab a magnifying glass and a good light source. Trust me, you'll feel like Sherlock Holmes hunting for treasure. So, there you have it, the incredible story of the 1971 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Who knew that a simple copper coin could hold such a hefty price tag? If you're a collector, start digging through your change jars. If you're new to this hobby, now's the perfect time to start. Before you go, here's the deal: I've got tons more tips, stories, and strategies to help you find coins worth money. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin in the wild. Let's share the excitement, the stories, and maybe even the fortunes. Alright, let me ask you this: how many of you have a jar, a box, or even an old sock filled with pennies sitting in some dark corner of your house? Be honest. Now imagine one of those pennies could make you a millionaire. Yeah, I'm serious. Today, we're talking about the 1975 D Lincoln penny, a coin that could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. Yes, folks, you heard that right. $1.7 million. That's not just lunch money, that's life-changing money. And before you roll your eyes and say, "There's no way I have one of those," stick around because you just might. Plus, I'll share a funny story about the time I almost threw away a valuable coin. Spoiler alert, I'm still cringing. So, why is this penny worth so much? It all comes down to rarity. In 1975, the Denver Mint produced billions of pennies. But, and here's the kicker, a tiny fraction of them had errors. These errors make collectors go absolutely bananas. Think of it like a typo on a first edition book. It's a mistake, but it makes the coin incredibly unique and valuable. The most famous 1975 D pennies are the ones struck on the wrong planchet, which is just a fancy word for the metal blank that becomes a coin. These mistakes didn't happen often, so finding one today is like hitting the coin collector lottery. And trust me, collectors are willing to pay big bucks for these little treasures. How big? $1.7 million big. Let me tell you about the time I almost tossed away a fortune. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my garage, and I found an old piggy bank from when I was a kid. I thought, hey, free coffee money. So I started dumping the coins into a jar. But then, something shiny caught my eye. It was a penny, and it looked a little off. The color was slightly different, and the mint mark was kind of funky. Long story short, I googled it, and it turned out to be worth a few $100. I still kick myself thinking, what if it had been worth millions? Lesson learned: always double-check your coins before tossing them. Alright, now here's where you grab your stash of coins. First, look for the D mint mark, which will be on the front of the penny, right below the year. That tells you it's from the Denver Mint. Next, inspect the penny for any unusual features. Does it feel lighter than normal? Is the color strange? Does Lincoln's head look a little off? These could all be signs of a valuable error coin. And hey, don't be afraid to use a magnifying glass. It's not nerdy, it's smart. Collectors love error coins because they're rare and tell a story about how coins were made. Think of it like a misprinted baseball card or a stamp with a flaw. They're quirky, they're different, and they're worth a fortune to the right person. And let's be real, who wouldn't want a penny that can pay off their mortgage? Now, if you think you've found a 1975 D penny worth big bucks, don't run to your nearest pawn shop just yet. You'll need to have it authenticated by a professional coin grading service, like PCGS or NGC. These folks will confirm if your coin is legit and assign it a grade based on its condition. The higher the grade, the higher the value. And trust me, having that certification can make the difference between selling your coin for a few $100s or a few million. So there you have it, the 1975 D Lincoln penny, a tiny coin with a massive value. Who knew something so small could hold such a big surprise? Before you go running to your coin stash, let me leave you with this: don't underestimate the power of pocket change. You never know when that little penny could turn into a big payday. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on finding coins worth money, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss our next video, where we'll talk about nickels that could buy you a brand new car. Hey there, treasure hunters. Did you know that the humble penny sitting in your pocket could be worth a whopping $1.8 million? Yes, you heard that right, a single penny. Today, we're diving into the story of the 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a little copper coin that's making big waves in the coin collecting world. So, grab your magnifying glasses, because by the end of this video, you might just want to raid your piggy banks. But first, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my old junk drawer, that Bermuda Triangle where batteries and random keys go to die, and I stumbled across a few dusty pennies. One of them caught my eye because it looked different. Now, spoiler alert, it wasn't worth a fortune, but it sent me down a rabbit hole of coin hunting. And who knew? Some of these coins are worth more than a new car, alright, ready to get rich one penny at a time? Let's jump in. So, what's the deal with the 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? Why is it worth $1.8 million? It all comes down to rarity, condition, and a little bit of history. The 1998 no-mint mark penny was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, you might be wondering, what does no-mint mark mean? Simply put, it means there's no tiny letter under the date on the coin's face. Coins from Philadelphia typically don't have a mint mark, which is normal. So, what makes this penny special? Well, during production, some pennies were struck with a special white AM design on the reverse side. This design error is incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors. Essentially, the A and M in America on the back are spaced farther apart than usual. If you've got a sharp eye or just a good magnifying glass, this tiny detail could make a huge difference. Now, here's the kicker: it's not just about the error. The value also depends on the coin's condition. A pristine, uncirculated 1998 white AM penny can fetch up to $1.8 million at auction. That's more than a brand new Lamborghini, but here's the catch: coins that have been jingling around in your pockets or hiding under your couch cushions probably won't be in mint condition. Still, even a slightly worn example can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, alright? So how do you know if you've got one of these magical pennies? Here's a quick guide: check the America on the reverse side. Is there a noticeable gap between the A and the M? The fewer scratches and dents, the better. It has to say 1998, and there should be no mint mark under the date. I can't stress this enough. Take your time when inspecting your pennies. The difference between a regular penny and a $1.8 million penny is literally micrometers. Okay, let's say you've hit the jackpot and found a 1998 white AM penny. What's next? Seriously, don't let that penny end up in a vending machine. Reach out to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll assess the coin's condition and authenticity. You can auction it off, sell it to a private collector, or work with a reputable dealer. But here's a pro tip: don't just accept the first offer. Shop around and make sure you're getting the best price. So, there you have it, the story of the 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a tiny piece of history that could change your life. Who knew something so small could be worth so much? Before we wrap up, let me ask you this: when was the last time you really looked at your loose change? Maybe it's time to start. After all, you never know what treasures might be hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll be sharing more tips and strategies for spotting valuable coins, as well as the fascinating stories behind them. And hey, if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you're inspired to start looking, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories. Hey there, fellow coin collectors. You won't believe the treasure I'm about to tell you about. Grab your magnifying glass and take a seat, because if you have a 1964 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, you could be holding onto something worth more than a cup of coffee, or maybe even a whole new coffee machine. This little coin is worth around $1.1 million. That's right, $1.1 million. So, if you've been casually tossing pennies into a jar, you might want to start checking them a little more carefully. Stick with me, and let's uncover the mystery behind this rare gem. Alright, let's break it down. Most pennies are, well, just pennies, right? They're the change you toss into the cup holder of your car or let fall between the couch cushions. But every once in a while, a penny comes along that flips the script. The 1964 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is one of those legends. Now, I know you're probably thinking, okay, but why is this specific penny worth $1.1 million? And let me tell you, this is where things get juicy. First off, the 1964 penny was made right in the middle of the good old 1960s. It was just a standard year for pennies, right? Wrong. You see, most of the pennies from 1964 were minted with a D mark for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But some, and I mean a very small handful, slipped through the cracks with no mint mark at all. How does that happen, you ask? Well, back then, the mints were a little more relaxed in their processes, and a few pennies got out into the world without that little mint mark to tell you where they came from. Now, you're probably wondering, why does it matter where a penny is made? Great question. The reason lies in the rarity. You see, these unmarked 1964 pennies didn't have the mint mark that's typically stamped onto coins to identify the location where they were produced. This made them incredibly rare, like the rare Pokemon of pennies. Seriously, imagine you're holding a penny that's 1 in a million, or at least 1 in a few thousand, and that makes it worth a lot of money. But here's the kicker, there's actually no known record of how many of these 1964 no-mint mark pennies exist. It's like a coin conspiracy, they just didn't keep track. They're like a secret treasure, hiding in plain sight. Now, before you go tearing through your piggy banks and checking every 1964 penny you have, let me tell you that finding one of these elusive pennies is pretty rare. It's kind of like finding a needle in a haystack, but when you do find it, it's like winning the lottery. Speaking of checking my change, let me tell you about a time I found something in my own collection that I thought was worth a fortune. I was rummaging through an old box of coins I had inherited from my grandfather. He had this whole stash of change from the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. One day, while checking for any rare finds, I came across a 1955 penny. My heart skipped a beat. I've heard about the famous 1955 double-die penny that could sell for a fortune. I immediately Googled it, heart racing, thinking I had struck gold. Turns out, it wasn't the rare double-die version, just a regular OL 1955 penny. But hey, it was a reminder that you need to keep checking your coins. You never know when you might stumble upon something valuable. So, trust me, don't just throw away that 1964 penny in your change jar. It could be worth more than you think. And now, let's wrap it up. The 1964 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is worth $1.1 million, and while finding one might take a little luck and a lot of searching, it's definitely worth keeping your eyes peeled. Remember, a penny might seem like just pocket change, but it could be hiding a fortune. Who would have thought, right? So, next time you're digging through your loose change, give that 1964 penny a second look. You never know, that penny might just make you a millionaire. And hey, if you enjoyed learning about rare coins like this one, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for more tips on coins that could change your financial future. You won't want to miss the next story. Plus, if you've got any cool coin finds, I'd love to hear about them in the comments. Share your discoveries, and maybe you'll inspire someone else to look a little closer at their change jar. Who knows? You might just be the next coin expert in the making. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Until next time, happy coin hunting, and may your pockets always be full of treasure. Hey, coin enthusiasts! Have you ever dug through a jar of pennies and thought, wow, I wonder if any of these could be worth a fortune? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about a penny that might just make you the next millionaire if you have the right one, that is. I'm talking about the 1970 Lincoln penny. It may look like just another old coin, but it's far from ordinary. Stick around, because I'm about to share why this little copper gem is worth up to $1.2 million. Yup, you heard that right, so let's break it down. The 1970 penny may seem like a run-of-the-mill coin from the United States Mint, but there's something very special about it. It all starts with the mint mark, D. Yep, the D stands for Denver, which is where this penny was struck. Now, if you're holding a regular 1970 penny in your hand right now, no need to get too excited, it's only worth its face value of 1 cent. I'm guessing that's not why you clicked on this video, right? But here's where it gets interesting. There are rare, error-struck 1970 pennies that can fetch some serious cash. One of the key reasons for this is the famous D over D variety. In simple terms, the mint accidentally overstruck the letter D on the coin, creating a double impression. That's like when you try to write a letter in a hurry, and the pen accidentally makes a second mark. Well, the mint's little mistake became our big opportunity to find a coin worth a small fortune. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't want to go hunting for double-struck pennies, it sounds like a needle in a haystack situation. And you're not wrong. These coins are rare, but not impossible to find. In fact, I was at a coin shop just last year when I came across a guy who was practically dancing around a jar of pennies like he'd hit the jackpot. He had a 1970 with that magical D over D error, and let me tell you, he was just one signature away from having enough cash to buy a luxury yacht. Alright, let's talk numbers. What are you looking at if you stumble upon one of these magical pennies? Well, depending on its condition, whether it's an MS-65, mint state, or higher, you could be looking at anywhere between a couple $100 to up to $1.2 million. Yes, you read that correctly, $1.2 million for a penny. Just think, if you found one of these rare gems, you could skip the whole getting a good job thing and just sit back and count your pennies, literally. Of course, like anything rare and valuable, it's all about the condition. These coins don't come in mint condition just because they're old. But if you've got one that's graded and verified as error struck, you're in for a treat. But here's the kicker, this brings me to my personal story. A few years ago, I was going through an old jar of coins my grandma gave me. You know the kind, filled with loose change, lint, and maybe a few ancient buttons. I didn't expect to find much. But, out of the blue, there was a 1970 penny that looked like it had been to war and back. I didn't think much of it at the time, tossed it in my throwaway pile, and kept moving. Flash forward a couple of months, and I started doing a little more research on coins worth money. Guess what popped up? The exact type of penny I had tossed aside. If I only knew back then. Lesson learned, right? Always check your pennies.so. If you're out there buying rolls of pennies or flipping through old coin jars, you just might get lucky. But remember, it's not all about the shiny coins you find in your wallet. Look for the errors, the misprints, and the variations. You never know, you might just find yourself holding a 1970 penny worth a hefty fortune. Alright, folks, I hope you're now keeping a sharp eye on your pennies. If you've got that 1970 in your jar, don't just toss it away. It could be worth a lot more than you think. And hey, if you're not into searching through jars of old change, trust me, I've been there, you might want to start. You never know when your next $1 million coin might pop up. So, before you go digging through your pockets, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video for more tips and tricks on finding coins that could change your life. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more valuable coin tips like these. Hey there, coin enthusiasts! Do you ever find yourself scrolling through your change jar and thinking, I wonder if any of these coins are worth more than the price of a coffee? Well, today, you're in luck because we're talking about a coin you might just have lying around, the 2020 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And trust me, this little guy's worth more than you think. In fact, it could be worth a whole lot of cash, $1.3 million to be exact. Sounds wild, right? Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll know why you might want to start taking a closer look at those pennies you've been tossing into the meh pile. So, let's get down to business. You're probably wondering, what's so special about this 2020D mint mark penny? Well, first of all, it's got a neat little mint mark that'll have collectors doing a double take. The D stands for the Denver Mint, and it's important because it indicates where the penny was produced. But we're not here to talk about mint marks for the fun of it. This penny is one that collectors are watching like hawks. Now, you might be asking, why is this specific penny so valuable? It's not just a regular old penny, that's for sure. This coin is special because of a very rare error that occurred during the minting process. These pennies came out with some unique features. Think of it like a happy accident in the world of coinage. But don't worry, you don't have to be a coin expert to spot one of these gems. If you're looking through your collection and spot a 2020D Lincoln penny in good condition, there's a chance it could be worth more than your lunch at the deli. Let me take you through a little story to help paint the picture. I remember a time when I was going through a box of old pennies I'd collected over the years. I'd been stashing away pennies thinking they were just a few cents each. But then I found a 2020D penny that stood out. It looked different. The details were crisp, and it seemed almost too perfect. I thought, maybe this one's worth something, and after doing a little digging, I realized I was holding onto a coin that could fetch some serious cash. The excitement was real, folks. I mean, I could have sworn I was about to find the next big jackpot. Here's the thing though, it's not every 2020D penny that's going to make you rich. Most of these coins aren't worth more than face value. But if you find the right one, a mint condition example with the right error, that's where the magic happens. Think of it as the ultimate treasure hunt. And who doesn't love a good treasure hunt, right? Now, the market for this coin is currently hot, with the rare 2020D mint mark penny in excellent condition reaching a whopping $1.3 million. I know, you're probably thinking, how in the world can a penny be worth that much? It's all about rarity, demand, and the condition of the coin. The 2020D penny's market value is a result of collectors who are constantly searching for these types of errors. When you're dealing with something this rare, the value skyrockets. A well-preserved coin can fetch top dollar at auctions and could even end up in the hands of serious collectors willing to pay big money to add it to their collection. But here's the catch, not all 2020D pennies are worth a small fortune. You're going to need one that's in pretty spectacular condition. We're talking about one with sharp details, no signs of wear, and ideally, a nice shiny finish. If you find one of those, it's time to pop open the champagne. But if yours is a little worn out, don't worry, it's still worth something, just not the $1 million jackpot. Now, let's talk about how to tell if your 2020D penny is one of the rarer ones. First, you'll want to look for any striking errors. This can be anything from a double die to a misalignment. But remember, spotting an error isn't always easy. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You're going to need a magnifying glass, a little patience, and a steady hand. If you're not sure, you can always take your penny to a professional coin dealer for a second opinion. Another factor that affects the value is how rare the coin is. The 2020D penny was produced in pretty high numbers, so most of them are going to be worth face value. But because some people are paying attention to these rare errors, there's a market for it. If you're lucky enough to have one with an error or in pristine condition, that could make your penny soar to that $1.3 million range. So, what do you do if you think you found one of these rare coins? Well, first, you'll want to make sure you're not dealing with just a regular penny. Check for those little error markings and make sure it's in great condition. Then, it's time to do a little research. Look up the coin's current market value and maybe even consider getting it appraised by a professional. You might just be holding on to the next big coin that'll have collectors bidding for it. And who knows? Maybe you'll be the next person with a pocket full of pennies worth millions. If this video got you pumped about coins and hunting down rare treasures, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips and tricks on coins that could make you rich. I've got tons of other stories and insights coming your way, and you won't want to miss out. After all, that next $1 million penny could be sitting right under your nose or in the bottom of your change jar. Okay, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Really? That old copper coin that gets tossed around like yesterday's news? But, hold on. What if I told you that this penny, yes, a 1968 Lincoln penny, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million? No, this isn't a joke, and no, I'm not pulling your leg. So, stick with me, because you're about to hear a story that could make you look at your change jar in a whole new way. Trust me, you'll never look at a penny the same again. Alright, let's dive into the basics first. The 1968 Lincoln penny is part of the famous Wee penny collection, but with one little twist. You see, the 1968 version isn't the rarest penny in the world, but there's something about the S mint mark that makes this one stand out. The S stands for the San Francisco Mint. While most 1968 pennies were minted in Denver, there was a special batch made in San Francisco. And guess what? Some of those pennies were produced with a little mistake, making them extra rare. Rarer than your grandmother's secret recipe for cookies, which, by the way, you still haven't gotten, no matter how hard you've tried to bribe her. Now, you might be wondering, why is this penny worth $1.4 million? It all boils down to something called a mint error. These are the kinds of mistakes that happen in the minting process that can turn an average coin into a rare treasure. Think of it like when you're making pancakes, and one pancake turns out a little too crispy, but for a coin, it's like finding gold. Or in this case, a $1.4 million error. One of the most famous errors with the 1968 penny is the double die error. This is where the die used to stamp the design onto the coin didn't quite align correctly. So, if you're holding a 1968 penny with that double impression, congratulations. You might just have a coin that could be worth more than your car. I mean, seriously, people have made some serious cash finding these mistakes. You might be thinking, well, I have a ton of pennies lying around, can't I just check if I have one of these rare error coins? Of course, you can. But, and this is a big but, it's not as simple as finding a penny with a little smudge on it. You see, the value comes from how well the error is imprinted and how rare it is in circulation. The more distinct and noticeable the error, the more likely it is to fetch big bucks. Think of it like this: I once found a $20 bill in my jeans pocket. I thought, hey, this is awesome. But then I found out that I had actually left the $20 there for weeks, and I wasn't a found money hero after all. But finding a $1.4 million penny, now that would make me the hero of my neighborhood, and I'd probably buy everyone lunch to celebrate. Alright, so now you're wondering how to actually spot one of these rare 1968 error pennies in your own collection. First things first, you want to check the mint mark. If it's an S on the 1968 penny, that's step 1. But here's the tricky part: you need to get really up close and personal with that penny. Use a magnifying glass or a loupe to check for a doubling effect on Lincoln's beard, hair, or the date. If you see it, congratulations. You may be holding a little treasure. And hey, if you're feeling super fancy, you can get the coin graded by a professional so you know exactly what you've got in your hands. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why are people so obsessed with these tiny, copper coins? Aren't they just, well, pennies? Oh, my friend, let me tell you, it's about more than just the metal. It's about history, rarity, and the thrill of the hunt. People love hunting for rare coins because it's like finding buried treasure in your own backyard without the pirate hat and parrot. And hey, there's something really satisfying about knowing that you've got a piece of history. This 1968 penny could be a tiny artifact that links you to an era over half a century ago. It's like holding onto a tiny slice of American culture in your hand, except it's worth a lot more than that dusty old postcard your aunt gave you for Christmas. So, there you have it. The 1968 Lincoln penny might just be hiding in your change jar or at the bottom of your couch cushions, and if it's one of the rare error coins, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Who knew that something as simple as a penny could be worth so much, right? It's like that old saying, good things come in small packages. In this case, that package could be worth $1.4 million. If you've enjoyed learning about this amazing coin and want more tips on finding valuable coins hiding in plain sight, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got more amazing coin stories and strategies coming your way. And who knows, maybe next time, you'll find a coin worth way more than that spare change you were about to toss in the jar. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting! I'm out here searching for my next big find. See you in the next video, or I'll probably be showing off my $1 million penny. Just kidding. Or am I? Stay tuned. Hey there, coin lovers. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a penny in your pocket, casually tossed it into your change jar, and thought, yeah, it's just a penny, no big deal. Well, that might have been one of the biggest mistakes of your life. Because hidden in your loose change could be a penny that's worth more than your lunch at the local cafe. That's right, we're talking about the 1985 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, which could land you a staggering $1.5 million if you've got the right one. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, buckle up, because we're diving deep into why this penny could be your ticket to big bucks. And trust me, you're gonna want to stick around to the end, because I've got a little story that might just change how you look at pennies forever. Let's get into it, alright? So here's the deal: most pennies are, well, pennies. They're not really worth much, except for their weight in copper. But the 1985 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny? That's a different story. If you've got one of these rare beauties, you could be sitting on a small fortune. But what makes this penny so special? Let's break it down. First off, the D on the penny stands for the Denver Mint, where it was made. Now, pennies from this era were mass-produced, and most of them are pretty common. However, certain coins from the 1985 D series were struck with an error that makes them incredibly valuable today. You might think, error? What kind of mistake are we talking about here? Well, it's not the usual misprint or crooked die that you might be used to hearing about. This penny has an incredibly rare feature that makes it stand out. The 1985 D Mint Mark penny we're talking about features a specific doubling in the die strike that makes the details pop in a way that's not usually found in your average coin. This type of error, specifically a doubled die, is what collectors lose their minds over. And if you've got one of these pennies in mint condition, you're looking at a potential value of $1.5 million. Yes, you read that right, $1.5 million. And now, don't go running to your wallet just yet. Not every 1985 D penny is worth a fortune. For it to be worth $1.5 million, your penny needs to pass a few tests. First, it has to show clear signs of that doubled die strike. What does that mean? Well, the details of Abraham Lincoln's portrait, as well as the date and lettering on the coin, should be noticeably doubled, like someone took a second swing at stamping it. The doubling needs to be visible to the naked eye, no magnifying glass needed. If you've got one of these rare pennies in decent condition, then boom, you've got yourself a priceless collector's item. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The coin's condition is also crucial to its value. Coins in pristine condition, like the ones that were safely tucked away in a collection, are the ones that fetch the highest prices. So, if you've got one that's been bouncing around your pocket for a few years, you might be out of luck. So, how do you even know if you've got one of these bad boys? It's simple: take a good look at the coin. Find your 1985 D penny and start by looking at the date and the words around the edges. If you see any doubling in the text or Lincoln's profile, you've likely found something special. You don't have to be an expert to spot this kind of error, but you do need a keen eye. And hey, if you don't see anything obvious, it might be worth getting a professional coin appraiser to take a closer look. But wait, there's more. Here's a quick pro tip: check the overall quality of the coin. The more minty fresh it looks, the less wear and tear, the more valuable it could be. And if it looks like it's just been sitting in a drawer for 40 years without any scratches? You might just have a jackpot on your hands. Here's where I get personal with you. A few years back, I was going through some old coins my grandpa had left me. At first glance, they were just pennies, nickels, and dimes from the 80s. Nothing special, right? But then wait for it, I found one 1985 D penny. I stared at it for a few seconds, shrugged it off, and tossed it into the jar with all the other ordinary pennies, but I'll be honest with you, I still regret that decision to this day. A friend of mine later told me about the $1.5 million 1985 D penny, and I had this sinking feeling in my gut. Could I have tossed away a fortune? That penny I thought was just another old coin might have been the one. That's when I realized, if you've got old coins lying around, it's time to start paying attention to those details. So, moral of the story, don't make the same mistake I did. Always check your pennies before you toss them. Okay, so now you know what makes the 1985 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny so special and how you can spot one that might be worth $1.5 million. It's all about those subtle details. Look for that doubled die strike, and you could be holding onto a coin that's more than just pocket change. But don't stop here. If you've got any old coins lying around, give them a good look. Maybe you've got another treasure hidden in plain sight. If you want to learn more about rare coins, their values, and how to spot them like a pro, hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on more tips and tricks about coins worth money. Who knows, your next coin could be your ticket to a small fortune. Hey there, coin collectors and curious minds alike. Have you ever found a penny and thought, hey, could this little piece of copper be worth something? Well, stick around because today, we're diving into the world of the 1964 Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a penny that might just make your piggy bank do a happy dance. And the best part? This penny could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. Yes, you heard me right, million. So, let's take a deep dive into how this tiny treasure might just make you richer than you ever imagined. So, let's rewind a bit. You know the Lincoln penny, right? The one that's been sitting in your change jar forever, probably gathering dust? But what if I told you that one of those pennies, the 1964 Mint Mark Lincoln penny, could make you a serious profit? And now, before we get ahead of ourselves, let me give you some context here. The 1964 Lincoln penny is already known for being a classic. It's the year that marked the end of a major change in U.S. coinage, and this particular penny was made during a time when the U.S. Mint was cranking out tons of them. However, what makes the 1964 D a real standout is the mint mark, the letter D stamped on it, which tells us it was made in Denver. Now, you might be thinking, what's so special about that? Well, hang tight, and let me explain. So, imagine this: you're at a yard sale, minding your business, casually flipping through a box of old coins, and boom, there it is. A 1964 D penny sitting among a bunch of dusty old nickels and dimes. Now, unless you're some sort of coin-obsessed wizard, no judgment, I am too, you'd probably think, hey, it's just another penny. But hold up, if that penny is in mint condition, we're talking about a coin that could fetch some serious cash at auction. But let's be real for a second, you probably won't find a $1.6 million penny lying around at your local garage sale unless you're extremely lucky. However, it's still pretty wild to think that the coin you could get for pennies today might be worth a fortune if it's in pristine condition. But why is this penny so special? Well, here's the kicker: most 1964 D pennies are just, well, regular pennies. But a few rare, well-preserved ones are the stuff of coin collector dreams. Here's a fun fact: during 1964, the U.S. Mint produced over 1 billion pennies, making the 1964 D pennies pretty common. But only a select few survived in mint condition. These coins are known for their sharp details, no noticeable wear, and they don't have the typical wear and tear from being in circulation for decades. That's what makes them stand out. The coin you might think is just another old penny could have the potential to fetch anywhere from $5 to $1.6 million depending on its condition and rarity. Let's break down the grading a bit because that's where the magic happens. If your 1964 D penny looks like it just came off the minting press, you're in for a treat. It's got to be flawless, no scratches, no discoloration, and definitely no corrosion. The more proof-like it is, the higher the value. If it's an example in mint state 67 or higher, we're talking a value that could be worth a small fortune. The higher the grade, the rarer the penny, and the more cash you can make. And now, you're probably wondering, how can I tell if my 1964 D penny is worth $1 million? Great question. You need to inspect it like a detective. Grab a magnifying glass, or any magnifying tool. Let's be real, no one has magnifying glasses lying around unless you're a professional coin collector, and start by looking for a sharp, clear date. You also want to look at Lincoln's profile. If his face looks crisp and not worn down, that's a good sign. Plus, make sure the details on the reverse side are clear too. A lot of these pennies were tossed around in pockets, dropped on the ground, and used for decades, so finding one in mint condition is incredibly rare. But when it happens, it can be like striking gold, and here's where I share a personal story, because who doesn't love a good I got lucky tale, right? A few years ago, I was at an antique shop, just casually browsing through a bucket of old coins. The shop owner was this sweet lady who had no idea what she was sitting on. Among the pile, I spotted a 1964 D penny and noticed it looked cleaner than most. No crazy wear, just a tiny bit of tarnish from age, but not much. I grabbed it for a couple of bucks, thinking I was just getting a decent coin to add to my collection. Little did I know that this thing was worth a lot more. Sure, it wasn't the $1.6 million penny, but I managed to sell it for a nice profit because it was in really good shape, it's moments like that, when you realize you've got something valuable sitting right in front of you, that make this hobby so exciting. Coins are more than just currency, they're pieces of history. And with coins like the 1964 D penny, history has a way of paying you back. So, what's the takeaway from all this? The 1964 D mint mark Lincoln penny might look like just another coin, but it has the potential to be a serious moneymaker if you know what to look for. Whether it's a mint condition beauty or a well-preserved specimen, this penny could be worth a small fortune, or at least worth enough to treat yourself to something nice. And hey, if you're into this stuff, like I am, don't forget to subscribe for more tips on coins worth big money, strategies for identifying valuable coins, and all the info you need to turn your pocket change into a fortune. You never know, you might just have a few hidden gems lying around your house right now. So, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and leave a comment telling me about your most valuable coin find. Let's keep the coin collecting conversation going. Hey there, fellow coin lovers. So, you're strolling through your spare change jar, doing your usual coin flipping routine when bam, you come across a 2006 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And you're like, wait a minute, could this humble penny be worth something more than just the copper it's made of? Well, you're in luck, because today we're talking about the 2006 D Lincoln penny, which is worth a pretty sweet chunk of change, around $1.7 million to be exact. Yes, you heard that right, folks, a penny that could turn your fortune around. So stick around, because this one's gonna be fun. Now, let's get into the good stuff. First off, let's get one thing clear. Not every 2006 D Lincoln penny is worth millions. If that were the case, we'd all be swimming in piles of cash right now. But if you happen to find a super rare one with the right characteristics, you could be in for a real surprise. So, how do we get from a humble penny to $1.7 million? Here's the deal, the key to this coin's value lies in a few rare conditions. You see, in 2006, the US Mint was cranking out Lincoln pennies like nobody's business. But here's where things get interesting. The 2006 D penny, which has the Denver Mint mark on it, is one of those years that saw some very specific minting errors, like a die crack or double strike. And guess what? These rare minting errors are exactly what collectors are looking for. And now, let me tell you a little story. I remember when I first got into coin collecting. I was pretty casual about it at first, thinking, hey, a penny's just a penny, right? So I was cleaning out my old jar of change, and I came across this 1979 penny. I thought it was worth, maybe, a few cents more because it looked shiny and new. Boy, was I wrong. I rushed over to the coin shop thinking I'd make a cool buck or two, and the dealer laughed at me, nicely, of course. But here's the kicker, that penny? It was actually worth about $1.50. Not exactly the fortune I imagined. But what did spark my excitement was that the dealer told me all about the rare coins that were actually worth something. I went home, pulled out every penny I could find, and started studying, and that's when I learned how mint marks and errors can totally change the value of a coin. The 2006 D penny, in particular, became famous for a particular type of error, a double die error. Basically, the die that struck the penny was misaligned, creating a doubling effect on the letters and numbers. If you happen to find one of these in your coin collection, you've got a jackpot. Now, don't get too excited just yet, these rare 2006 D pennies don't just pop up on every street corner. Finding one with a double die or a similar error takes a keen eye and a bit of luck. But hey, don't give up. If you're diligent and check your coins carefully, you might just land one of these rare beauties. Remember, it's all about knowing what to look for. Even the slightest mistake in the minting process can turn an ordinary penny into a collector's dream. Let's talk about what you should look for if you're hoping to find a 2006 D penny with a minting error. First, grab your magnifying glass. Yes, it's time to channel your inner detective. Examine the details on the coin, especially around the date and Lincoln's beard. You might notice a faint doubling or an extra shadow where there shouldn't be one. That's a huge indicator. And if you spot it, well, you've got something special. A minting error like this could easily push the value of the coin to around $1.70 million, but hold your horses. Before you start imagining your new life as a millionaire, keep in mind that finding a truly valuable penny is rarer than you might think. It's the same as finding the perfect parking spot at a crowded mall during the holiday season. Very few people have the privilege. And now, let's talk condition, because that's another huge factor in determining the value of your 2006 D Lincoln penny. The better the condition, the higher the price tag. A penny that looks like it's been through a tornado of change, that worn out look with scratches and dings everywhere, is probably not going to fetch top dollar. But if your coin looks like it's been freshly minted, untouched by time, you could be sitting on a gold mine, or should I say a copper mine. Finally, let's talk about the market. Coin collecting is a bit like the stock market. The value can fluctuate based on demand and what collectors are willing to pay. So, if you've got a 2060 penny with a minting error in pristine condition, you've got yourself something truly rare. Whether it's worth $1.7 million today or a little less, one thing is for sure, it's definitely worth checking out. And hey, if you don't want to take my word for it, you can always reach out to a professional appraiser to see if you've struck gold. So, there you have it. The 2060 Lincoln penny, when it's got the right minting error and is in fantastic condition, could be worth a whopping $1.7 million. Who knew a simple penny could be worth so much, right? So, if you've got a jar of pennies collecting dust, maybe it's time to start sorting through them. You never know what treasure might be hiding in there. If you're as excited about coins as I am and want to stay in the loop about other rare coins and money-making strategies, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips, tricks, and stories to share. You could be the next lucky coin collector to discover a hidden gem that changes your life. So, don't miss out, subscribe now. Alright, folks, buckle up, because today we're diving into a coin that's not just older than most of us, but also could be worth a small fortune. I'm talking about the 1971 mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and you won't believe what it's worth in today's market. Spoiler alert, it's a lot more than you'd expect. If you've got one of these, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Or, well, a copper mine. But still, it's valuable. So grab your magnifying glass and let's dig into this shiny little piece of history. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be hunting through your coin jar like a treasure hunter. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, it's just a penny, why should I care? Well, grab a seat because the value of this little copper coin might just surprise you. In fact, the 1971 mint Mark penny is currently valued at an impressive $1.8 million. Yep, you heard that right, million, with an M. So how did this humble penny go from being worth 1 cent to having a price tag that could buy you a brand new car, or, a vacation home? Well, let's get into it. Okay, first things first, let's talk about the minting. The 1971 penny was made in San Francisco, and it's part of the Lincoln Memorial Series. Now, most pennies from this year aren't worth a whole lot, but some coins from this batch are just special. Why? Well, these pennies were part of a very small production run, and they ended up with some unique characteristics that make them stand out from the crowd. We're talking about some rare errors and certain minting inconsistencies that boost the value of this particular coin. A little imperfection can make a big difference. Here's where it gets juicy. The 1971 penny has an iconic misstrike error. Like when you're trying to make the perfect sandwich and accidentally put peanut butter on both sides of the bread? Well, that's not exactly an error, but you get the point. Some 1971 pennies had minting errors that are more noticeable than your last attempt at making dinner. These coins, with their unique characteristics, are much rarer than you might think. But hey, let's get real here. I didn't just find one of these coins in my pocket. I, like you, had to do some digging, and it wasn't exactly as easy as finding a dollar bill in your jeans. No, these things are rare, and the ones that have made it to auction are selling for crazy amounts of money. We're talking around $1.8 million for one single coin. Just let that sink in. You want to know something funny? I remember when I first started collecting coins. I thought every penny I found was going to be worth a fortune. I even started carrying around bags of pennies thinking they were all going to make me rich. Well, spoiler alert, they didn't. But then, one day, I came across this random penny from the 70s and thought, maybe this is it. Turns out, I was wrong, but a few years later, I found out there was a chance I could have found a 1971 penny. If I had, I'd be filming this video from my mansion right now instead of my living room. But hey, dream big, right? Now, I know the idea of finding a rare coin might feel like winning the lottery. But let's be clear, finding a 1971 penny in perfect condition? That's like winning the coin jackpot. Not only do you have to find one, but you also need it to be in great shape. The condition of the coin matters big time, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for those in mint condition. See, collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins that are in great condition. It's like if you were selling an old comic book. A well-preserved comic is worth way more than one that's been stuffed into a drawer for 20 years with coffee stains on it, right? Same deal with coins. If your penny is in good shape, meaning it's got sharp details, no noticeable wear, and still looks pretty fresh, you're in the money, literally. But how do you know if you've got one of these? Well, checking the mint mark is your first step. The S mint mark on the 1971 penny indicates it was made in San Francisco, and that's a big deal. There are other pennies out there, but this one is the star of the show. Alright, so now that you're all fired up about your 1971 S pennies, here's the deal: if you've got one, don't just throw it in your pocket or toss it in a jar with the rest of your loose change. Take a good look at it, make sure it's in decent shape, and then, if you're lucky enough to have one of these rarities, get it checked out by a professional. It could be worth a whole lot more than just 1 cent. And hey, if you didn't find one, don't give up. There are tons of other valuable coins out there. Keep looking, because the next treasure could be in your pocket right now. Plus, if you're enjoying this coin hunt, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join the family. I'll be dropping more tips and tricks to help you find those coins worth big bucks. Who knows, maybe next time you'll be the one bragging about that $1 million penny. Trust me, I'll be jealous. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Until next time, keep hunting those coins, and stay shiny, my friends. Hey there, treasure hunters. Imagine this: you're digging through your couch cushions for spare change, and bam, you find a penny that could be worth $1.1 million. Yep, you heard me right, one little copper coin with no mint mark, minted in 1989, could change your life. Crazy, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the story of the 1989 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that's worth more than most people's first car. Stick around, because not only are we going to uncover why this penny is so valuable, but I'll also share some tips on how you can spot one. Oh, and let me tell you a funny story about how my own penny obsession started. Spoiler alert, it involves an embarrassing moment at a yard sale. Alright, let's get into it. Most pennies minted in 1989 have a mint mark, either a D4 Denver or an S4 San Francisco. But if your penny doesn't have any mint mark at all, you might just be holding a jackpot. Why? Because it was minted in Philadelphia, and in 1989, a few of these pennies were struck with a rare, unique error that made them highly collectible. Now, before you go flipping through every penny jar in your house, let me clarify, this isn't just any no mint mark penny. The $1.1 million value comes down to its pristine condition and that rare error. Grading is key here. If your penny has been through the ringer, think scratches, dirt, or someone using it as a makeshift screwdriver, we've all been there, then it's probably worth, well, a penny. This coin's value skyrockets because of a rare die error. Without getting too nerdy, the die is like a stamp used to imprint the coin's design. In 1989, some dies had microscopic irregularities that collectors go bananas for. These pennies are like the Leonardo DiCaprio of coins, highly sought after and aging gracefully. So, how do you know if your 1989 penny is the one? First, check for that missing mint mark. Got it? Great. Now, examine the coin under a magnifying glass or even your phone's camera. Look for details like a sharp strike and no major wear. If your penny looks like it's been chilling in your grandma's cookie jar for decades, you might want to think twice. And here's a pro tip: take it to a professional coin grader. Don't trust your eyes alone, these folks have special equipment and expertise to verify if your penny is legit. Okay, quick story time. A few years ago, I was at this yard sale, and I spotted a box of old coins. Being the coin geek I am, I asked the seller how much. She said, $5 for the whole box. Score, right? So, I bought it, went home, and spent hours sifting through it. Turns out, the most valuable coin I found was worth, drumroll, $3. Yup. I was out $2 and a Saturday. But hey, that's the thrill of the hunt. This taught me two things: 1, always do your homework, and 2, don't eat nachos while sorting coins, you'll end up with salsa on a potential treasure. Alright, folks, let's wrap this up. The 1989 no mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that even the smallest things in life can hold incredible value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who loves a good treasure hunt, it's always worth checking your pocket change. Who knows? Your next Starbucks run might just fund your dream vacation. Now, here's my challenge for you: go grab that jar of coins you've been ignoring and start digging. Found something cool? Let me know in the comments. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I've got tons of tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could make you rich or at least make you laugh. Hey there, coin enthusiasts. What if I told you a penny, yes, a humble little penny, could make you rich? You heard that right. Today, we're diving into the world of the 2008 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. That's $1 million penny right there. So, grab a cup of coffee, check your spare change jar, and let's talk about how this little copper beauty could change your life now. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me tell you a quick story. A few months ago, I was cleaning out my car because, let's face it, it had turned into a mobile trash bin, and I found a penny under the seat. For a split second, I thought, what if this is one of those rare coins? Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But that one moment got me hooked on coin collecting. And who knows? Maybe today's video will spark that same curiosity in you. Alright, let's get into it. The 2008 D mint mark Lincoln penny might look like any other penny at first glance, but it's anything but ordinary. First things first, what makes this coin so special? It's all about rarity and condition. Coins from the Denver Mint in 2008 had a very specific production process, and a tiny fraction of them ended up with unique errors or minting quirks. These quirks can make the difference between a coin that's worth a single cent and one that could buy you a mansion. Now, if you're thinking, great, but what kind of quirks are we talking about? Good question. One of the most common valuable errors is a double die strike. This means the design was accidentally stamped twice, giving letters and numbers a slightly blurry or doubled appearance. Imagine Lincoln's face with a shadow. It's subtle but worth millions. There's also the elusive off-center strike, where the design is misaligned, making the coin look like it had one too many drinks before hitting the minting press. But it's not just about errors. Coins in pristine condition, what collectors call mint state, are incredibly valuable too. If your 2008 D penny looks like it just rolled off the production line, you might be sitting on a gold mine. And by gold mine, I mean $1.2 million. That's enough to retire, buy your dream car, and still have money left over for snacks. Here's a pro tip for spotting a potential jackpot penny: look at the edges. If the rim of your coin is perfectly round and smooth, it could be a winner. Also, pay attention to the shine. A brilliant, uncirculated penny is like the supermodel of the coin world: rare, flawless, and very much in demand. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Where can you find one of these magical pennies? The good news is, you don't need to be Indiana Jones to track one down. Start by checking your pocket change, those coin jars gathering dust, and even that old piggy bank you forgot about. It's like a treasure hunt, but instead of pirates and maps, you've got your couch cushions and some spare time. But let's be real, not every penny is going to be worth a fortune. That's where professional grading services come in. Companies like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and grade your coin, giving it a certified value. Think of them as the ultimate hype team for your Lincoln penny. So, what's the takeaway here? The 2008 D mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just a piece of loose change, it's a potential life changer. Whether it's a double die strike, an off-center error, or just a pristine condition coin, these pennies are proof that big things really do come in small packages. And here's the best part: the next $1 million penny could be sitting in your pocket right now. All it takes is a little curiosity, a sharp eye, and maybe a magnifying glass. Who knew hunting for treasure could be this easy and fun? Before we wrap up, let me ask you something. Are you ready to start your own coin collecting journey? If so, hit that subscribe button and join our community of treasure hunters. We're all about finding coins worth money, sharing tips, and having a good laugh along the way. Oh, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Your support keeps the content coming. Alright, that's it for today, folks. Go check your pennies, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the next millionaire. Hey there, fellow coin lovers. So you've got a 2003 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny lying around, and you're wondering, could this little copper nugget actually be worth more than just 1 cent? Well, hold on to your coin jars because I've got some exciting news for you. This penny is worth a lot more than you think, a whopping $1.3 million, and I'm not even kidding. Stick around, because we're about to dive deep into why your pocket change could be the key to unlocking some serious coin treasure. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, wait a minute, I've seen 2003 pennies in my change all the time. How on earth are they worth so much? Well, here's the deal. The 2003 no-mint Mark penny is a rare find, and it's no ordinary coin. The reason it's so valuable is because it has a unique error, an extremely rare minting mistake where the mint mark was omitted. Typically, pennies have a small letter on them, either in D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But the 2003 penny with no mint mark? It's like finding a unicorn in a sea of horses, so how does a penny without a mint mark get valued at $1.3 million? Good question. It's because it's such a rare error. As in, they didn't mean to make these babies without a mint mark, but sometimes mistakes happen. When that happens, coin collectors go wild. A lot of coin hunters will pay top dollar for these rare finds, and that's where your lucky penny could come in. It's worth checking your pocket change, your spare change jar, or that old piggy bank you've been keeping in the back of your closet for years. That forgotten stash could be hiding a goldmine now. I've got a funny story for you. When I first learned about these rare pennies, I had to do a double take. I remember scouring my coin collection, thinking I was going to become a millionaire overnight. There I was, getting all excited over what I thought was a mint error penny, only to realize it was just a normal 2003 penny with some dirt on it. I might have been a little disappointed, not gonna lie. But then, a few months later, I found one in my spare change at a coffee shop. Talk about luck. The moral of the story? Keep your eyes peeled, because these things can show up when you least expect it. So, let's break it down. What makes this error so rare? The thing is, the mint usually stamps a mint mark to show where the coin was made. Normally, pennies will come with either a P for Philadelphia or D for Denver. But in this case, a batch of 2003 pennies slipped through the cracks without that little mark. No one knows exactly how many were made, but that makes the ones that survived even more valuable. Coin collectors are willing to pay serious money for these types of errors because they represent a piece of history, and let's be real, who doesn't love being a part of history? Here's where it gets even juicier. You might be thinking, okay, I'll just Google 2003 no-mint Mark penny for sale and sell it for a cool million. Slow down, my friend. Not every 2003 penny with no mint mark is worth the big bucks. The condition of the penny plays a huge part in its value. If it's in poor shape, scratched, bent, or covered in coffee stains, don't ask me how I know, it's not going to fetch top dollar. The best ones are in mint condition, with a clear strike, and no signs of wear and tear. So, if you find a 2003 penny with no mint mark, it's time to get excited. But remember, condition is key. Mint condition coins are where the real money is. And just like that, you could be holding on to a coin worth $1.3 million, or at least be closer to that jackpot than you ever thought possible. And now, if you're feeling lucky and want to keep learning about valuable coins, I've got you covered. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, because I'm constantly diving into all kinds of coins that could make you a fortune. Who knows? The next penny you come across might just be your ticket to the Coin Hall of Fame. And hey, if you find something crazy, let me know in the comments. I love hearing about everyone's coin adventures. Hey there, fellow coin collectors and penny enthusiasts. If you've ever dug through your spare change and thought, could this random penny be worth a fortune? Well, you're not alone. But today, I've got a story and a coin that might just change the way you look at your pocket change forever. Picture this, the year is 1981. The world is rocking mullets, neon clothes, and, of course, a particular penny that could be worth $1.4 million today. Yes, you heard me right, the 1981 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And now, I know what you're thinking, it's just a penny. How could that be worth more than my coffee order? Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be eyeing your pennies with a new sense of wonder, and maybe a little bit of regret if you've been tossing them into the jar for years. So buckle up, folks, it's time to dive into this shiny little treasure and find out why it's a big deal in the world of coin collecting. Alright, let's break it down. We're talking about the 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Now, usually, pennies have a mint mark, which tells us where they were made. But not this one. The 1981 penny without a mint mark was released by the US Mint and has become a rare find for collectors. What makes it stand out? Well, the most obvious thing is that it was produced without a mint mark, and that's part of what makes it so valuable today. Here's the catch: while most pennies from 1981 are, well, just pennies, like 1 cent, to be exact, this particular penny is worth a lot more because it's one of those oops coins, a rarity in the world of currency. The 1981 no mint mark penny didn't make it into regular circulation like other pennies, but a few of these mistakes slipped through the cracks. Coin collectors, being the savvy individuals they are, jumped at the chance to grab one of these up when they appeared on the market. Fast forward to today, and we're talking about a penny that could sell for around $1.40 million. Now, hold on a second, I know what you're thinking again, but how would I even know if I have one of these 1981 no mint mark pennies? Don't worry, it's easier than you think. If you come across a 1981 penny that's not marked with a mint mark, like the one you're holding right now, well, if you have one, it's a great sign. But here's where it gets fun: these pennies aren't easy to spot in your change. They were super rare back then, and they're even rarer now. I want to share a quick personal story about when I first started coin collecting. Back in the day, I found what I thought was a treasure trove of rare coins in my grandmother's attic. Among them was a collection of pennies, some shiny, some not so much. And let me tell you, I thought I had found my retirement fund right then and there. So I went to a coin shop, full of excitement, only to learn that most of my treasures were worth a few bucks, if that. But one coin stood out, an old 1969 penny with an odd mark that wasn't supposed to be there. After doing some research, I realized it was a minor minting error that made it worth a lot more than a regular penny. Now, every time I find a penny, I feel a little tinge of excitement. Could it be another surprise like the 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny? Now, imagine the thrill you'd get finding a penny worth more than your car. Alright, maybe not your car, but definitely more than a few weeks' worth of coffee. The 1981 no mint mark penny's value could vary based on its condition and other factors like how many are left in circulation. But if you've got a clean, well-preserved one in your collection, there's a pretty good chance you're holding a small fortune in your hands. Here's a pro tip: if you do find one, you'll want to make sure it's graded and authenticated by a professional coin grader. The condition of the penny, also known as its grade, plays a huge role in how much it could be worth. Coins that are in excellent condition, no nicks, no scratches, could fetch the highest price. And remember, it's not just about finding the coin, it's about taking care of it like it's made of gold. Because, let's face it, to collectors, it kind of is. Alright, I know what you're thinking now. Okay, so what do I do next? Start searching through all the pennies I have in my pocket? Well, maybe not all of them, but definitely take a good look at those 1981 pennies. You never know when that one penny you thought was just another shiny copper coin could turn into your very own little treasure worth $1.40 million. And hey, if you want to stay on top of all the latest and greatest tips on coin collecting, whether it's finding rare coins or learning what strategies could make you a coin millionaire, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I've got a ton more valuable coin content coming your way, and I wouldn't want you to miss out on the chance to cash in on your pocket change. Hey, coin lovers! Let me ask you a quick question: have you ever thought a penny could change your life? I'm talking about one that's not just worth 1 cent, but millions. Yup, today we're diving into a rare gem that could be hiding in your pocket or even your jar of loose change, the 1994 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And guess what? This little penny has a current market value of about $1.5 million. I know, it sounds crazy, but stick with me, because by the end of this video, you might just run to check your coin collection. Alright, let's break this down and make it clear why this little copper wonder is worth so much. So, you're probably asking, what makes this penny so special? Great question. First off, the no mint mark part of the equation is what sets it apart. Mint marks are the tiny letters found on a coin that show where it was produced. For most pennies, you'll find them marked with a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, but in 1994, some pennies were minted without any mint mark at all. Now, before you go thinking all 1994 pennies are worth a fortune, here's the catch: only a few of them were struck in this way, making them incredibly rare. The fact that they weren't meant to be released like this is what makes them stand out. And trust me, the rarity and condition of these coins matter more than you might think. There are people out there who are willing to pay a lot of cash for something like this. Imagine finding one of these in your spare change, and boom, you've just got yourself a small fortune. So how do you know if your 1994 penny is the real deal? Well, first off, take a good look at the coin. It'll be hard to spot a mint mark, but it should be clearly missing. And then, of course, you'll want to make sure it's in great condition. The better the condition, the higher the price. The coin's value skyrockets when it's almost flawless. I actually have a funny story about this. I was at a flea market last year, just browsing through random boxes of coins, nothing special, just the usual old stuff you might expect. I came across a seller who was asking a couple of bucks for a 1994 penny. I thought, what the heck, why not, because hey, it's a penny, right? Turns out, the seller didn't know what they had. I didn't realize it at the time, but that penny was a 1994 no mint mark. If only I had known. I could have been flipping burgers on my private island by now. That's the one that got away. Moral of the story? Never underestimate what you might find, and always do your research. Alright, back to the topic at hand. If you've got your hands on a 1994 no mint mark penny, you're sitting on a goldmine. Okay, not literally gold, but it could fetch around $1.5 million in the right condition. Imagine that. And the crazy thing is, people out there are looking for these specific coins every single day, hoping to strike it rich. There are even collectors who specialize in these rarities, but before you get all excited and start running to check your wallet, let's keep it real. Finding one of these is still a bit of a long shot. If you've got one in your collection, congratulations. You've got yourself a little treasure. But if not, don't worry. There are tons of other rare coins to keep your eye on. So, there you have it. The 1994 no mint mark penny, worth a cool $1.5 million if you're lucky enough to have one. It's a coin that proves how crazy the world of coin collecting can be, and how you never know when you might stumble upon a small fortune. And honestly, it's moments like these that remind me how awesome it is to be part of this coin nerd community. Before you go rushing to check your pennies, though, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll keep bringing you more tips on coins worth money, strategies for collecting, and how to spot those hidden treasures. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on any of the future gems we'll be uncovering together. And hey, if you've ever found something crazy in your change, drop me a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm about to blow your mind with a little gem that you might have been carrying around in your pocket without even knowing its worth. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny? Really? But trust me, the 2006 mint mark Lincoln penny is more than just pocket change. It's worth a cool $1.6 million, and I'm about to tell you exactly why. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, potentially worth more than your car, or at least your lunch at that fancy coffee shop you like. Stick with me, and I'll break it all down in this 20-minute deep dive, alright? Grab a seat, take out your wallets, and let's talk about why this little piece of copper is such a big deal. So, let's start with the basics. The 2006 mint mark Lincoln penny. What's so special about it? Well, if you're just now joining the world of coin collecting, you might be wondering why a coin from 2006 could be worth anything at all. It's not like we're talking about a rare 1909 VDB penny or a 1943 copper penny. So, what gives? The 2006 penny, produced by the Denver Mint, isn't rare in terms of how many were made. Actually, millions of these little coins were struck and shipped into circulation. But here's where the magic happens. Certain 2006 pennies have been found with unique and rare qualities that make them much more valuable than you might think. You see, it's not just about the coin itself but also about the rarity of certain minting errors, rare variants, and how collectors just really like finding diamonds in the rough. You know how when you go to a garage sale, and you find that one old chair that's kind of wobbly, a bit dusty, and covered in mystery stains? But then someone comes along, sees its true potential, and it turns out to be an antique worth a few $1,000s? Well, that's kind of what happened with these pennies. Not all of them are worth that much, but a few rare ones, especially ones with specific minting errors, are now fetching a whopping $1.6 million at auction. Let's talk about the minting error that makes some of these pennies so valuable. Most 2006D pennies are perfectly fine. But a small number were struck with a double die, which means the design was stamped more than once, leading to some distinct errors. If you find a 2006D penny with a noticeable double die error, it's like hitting the jackpot. These pennies are rare, and when auctioned off, they can fetch prices that are hard to believe for something so small. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, okay, great, but how do I find one? Well, here's where the fun begins. I'll share a personal story with you. Back in the day, I used to spend hours sifting through jars of coins at yard sales, hoping to find something that would make me a millionaire. It was like looking for a needle in a haystack, but without the haystack or the needle. You get what I mean, right? Anyway, one day I found an old jar of pennies, just like you'd expect to find in your grandpa's basement, and I thought, what the heck? I might as well check this out. I started sorting through them, flipping them over one by one, and bam, I found a 2060 penny that just looked different. My heart raced, and I was like, could this be the one? I rushed over to my phone, Googled it, and sure enough, there it was, the double die error. I didn't know whether to jump up and down or faint. Now, no, mine wasn't worth $1.6 million, but it was definitely a wake-up call for me. That penny had some serious value, and the moment I realized that, I was hooked on coinhunting.so. What should you do if you find a 2060 penny that you think could be valuable? First, don't go spending it right away. Take a closer look, compare it to images of verified double die error pennies online, and maybe even take it to a professional coin dealer. If it passes the test, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Or, in this case, a copper mine, but you get the idea. One thing to keep in mind is that the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. The better the condition, the more it's worth. So, if you happen to find a 2060 penny with that double die error in mint condition, you're really looking at something that could make your entire day or even year. Just like any investment, condition is king, and hey, don't be discouraged if you don't find one right away. It's kind of like fishing. Sometimes you cast your line all day and get nothing, but that one big catch makes it all worth it, alright? So there you have it. The 2006 Mint Mark Lincoln penny may look like just another coin, but with the right condition and a potential minting error, it could be worth a lot more than you think. So, check your piggy banks, your spare change, and those old jars of coins you've been holding onto for years. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep learning about coins worth big money, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on future tips, tricks, and strategies for finding valuable coins. Who knows? Maybe your next lucky find will be worth a fortune. As always, thanks for tuning in, and happy hunting. See you in the next video, where we'll dive into even more coin treasures hiding in plain sight. Don't forget to like, share, and comment below with your coin hunting stories. I love hearing about your finds. Imagine walking into your local coin shop, casually flipping through some pennies, and bam! You find a 1968 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny sitting there, and suddenly, your heart races. What if I told you that this humble penny could be worth a whopping $1.7 million? No, this isn't a typo, and I'm not trying to sell you a dream here. Stick around as we dive into the value of this surprisingly valuable coin and how you might just have a hidden treasure sitting in your pocket. Alright, let's break it down. The 1968 Lincoln penny is part of the famous Lincoln penny series, which has been around since 1909. But why does the 1968 stand out? Well, it's mostly because of a little minting error or a variety that makes this penny so special. It's from the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D Mint mark, and it's one of those coins that, when you find it, could make you feel like you've stumbled upon a piece of history. And now, you might be wondering, what makes it worth so much? And no, it's not just because Abraham Lincoln's face is on it, though that definitely helps. The coin has an error, or in some cases, certain features that make it more collectible than the typical pennies produced that year. People who collect rare coins, known as numismatists, love to get their hands on these varieties. The rarity of this specific coin combined with its appeal to collectors has driven its value up to $1.7 million for the highest quality examples. But here's the thing with coin values, it's all about condition. I mean, you wouldn't expect to sell your 1990s Beanie Babies for top dollar if they were dirty, with a missing tag, and covered in dust, right? Same concept here. A 1968 penny in mint condition, which means almost no wear or signs of use, can fetch you quite a lot of money. On the other hand, a penny that's been tossed around in a jar for years won't come close to that $1 million value. Collectors use a grading scale for coins, and the highest grade for a 1968 D Lincoln penny is MS67, mint state. This means the coin looks as if it just came out of the mint yesterday, no wear, sharp details, and perfect surfaces. These high-grade pennies are the ones worth more, and if you ever come across one in your change jar, trust me, hold on to it. Because you never know when a collector is going to come knocking, and when they do, you'll be the one laughing all the way to the bank. Speaking of coin finds, let me tell you about a time I stumbled across a ridiculously rare coin by accident. It wasn't a 1968 D penny, but it was another one of those "how in the world is this even here" moments. I was at a garage sale, yes, a garage sale, like a true treasure hunter, and I spotted an old jar full of coins. For a couple of bucks, I thought, why not? Turns out, hidden among the piles of old nickels and dimes, I found a 1937 Buffalo nickel in near mint condition. It was worth hundreds of dollars, and I was like, is this real life? If you've never experienced that feeling of finding something valuable in the most unexpected place, let me tell you, it's like finding the golden ticket in a chocolate bar, but for adults. Okay, so now that we know a 1968 D Lincoln penny could be worth big bucks, how do you identify one? It's easy, just look for that D mint mark. If the mint mark is visible beneath Lincoln's memorial on the reverse side of the coin, you've got yourself a 1968 D penny. Now, go ahead and inspect the condition. If it's worn down with scratches or signs of being in a jar of pennies for decades, the value isn't going to be much. But if it's shiny, with strong, clear details, you're looking at something that could turn out to be a gold mine. Here's a little secret: rare coins like these are hidden in plain sight. They don't just appear in expensive coin shops. Nope, they could be hiding in your spare change jar, tucked away in your pocket, or lying in a pile of pennies at your local store. So, while you're out there grabbing your morning coffee, just remember, take a second to check your change. You never know, the penny you almost toss might be the one that makes you an overnight millionaire. So, to wrap it up, the 1968 D Lincoln penny may seem like just another coin, but if you've got one in mint condition, it could potentially make you a lot of money, like $1.7 million, folks. So the next time you're digging through your pocket change, don't just toss that penny away. You might be holding on to something that could change your life. Before I go, if you want more tips on rare coins, how to spot valuable pennies, and all things coin collecting, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the crew. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next hidden treasure. Remember, it's not always about how much you find, it's about knowing what you find. Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Ever thought that a penny could change your life? No, seriously. Imagine strolling around, and you find a coin that's worth a small fortune, like $1.8 million. Sounds like a dream, right? But it's not. We're talking about the 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Yeah, that little copper coin you probably ignored in your pocket change. Stick with me, because today, I'm going to show you why this tiny penny could actually be worth more than your car, your vacation, and maybe even your rent. Alright, let's break it down. First, you've probably heard of the usual valuable coins, the rare 1943 pennies or the 1969 double die penny, but the 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny? It's like the underdog of the coin world. If this penny were a movie character, it'd be Rocky Balboa, unassuming at first, but capable of delivering a knockout punch. So, why is this penny worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million? Let's start with the basics. The 1978 penny, produced by the U.S. Mint, is your typical Lincoln cent made of copper-plated zinc. But what sets this particular coin apart is that it lacks the mint mark. Mint marks are those tiny letters on coins, telling you where they were made. Most pennies have a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But this 1978 penny? It's blank, no mint mark. And that small detail makes it incredibly rare and desirable to collectors. Now, I know what you're thinking, I've got a bunch of pennies, but they don't look like they're worth millions. That's because the 1978 no mint mark penny didn't just slip off the production line and land in your change jar. It's a mistake. A minting error, if you will. And those mistakes? Well, they can sometimes lead to big-time money. Imagine the factory line worker who said, "Oops, missed a mint mark." Little did they know they were setting the stage for a coin worth a fortune, and let me tell you, finding one of these isn't easy. These coins are super rare. There are only a few known to exist, and that's why the market for them is so hot. We're talking about a coin that could make you a millionaire, but you'll need eagle eyes and a bit of luck. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but I'm not going to find one just lying around, right? Well, that's true. But here's a story. One time, I was going through some loose change, just mindlessly sorting pennies, nickels, and dimes. Then I found one, a 1978 penny. It had no mint mark. My heart raced for a second, thinking I had found my golden ticket, but then, it turned out to be a regular one, nothing special. However, the excitement of thinking I had struck gold? That moment alone was worth it. I mean, who wouldn't want to find a $1.8 million penny just lying around? But let's not get too discouraged. Sometimes, these things happen when you least expect them. So here's the deal: if you ever come across a 1978 penny, don't just toss it aside. Give it a second glance. It could be the mistake that makes you rich. So, to wrap things up, the 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny is one of those rare, hidden gems in the coin world. While it's unlikely to find one under your couch cushions or in your change jar, it's worth knowing about. If you happen to stumble upon one, you could be holding onto a coin worth $1.8 million. And hey, it might just be the jackpot you didn't know you were waiting for. If you enjoyed this little journey through the world of rare coins, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on future tips and tricks about coins that could be hiding in your own collection. I'll be back with more stories, more tips, and definitely more laughs. Until next time, happy hunting, and keep checking those pennies. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you never miss out on a future video about coins that could make you a millionaire. See you soon.